What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Jammin with J Money. We appreciate everybody for watching. We're going live from YouTube today and Facebook, so we appreciate everybody. If you guys could, please hit the like button and share the content, and make sure you guys go subscribe as well, man. Make sure you guys go to SBR Picks /NBA. Check out all the articles we have over there. Shop your odds. All types of lines over there, man. What's up, Jordan? This is my guy Jordan Sharp. It's my guy Junior Browne, man. What's up, guys? Y'all good? What's up, Jordan?
Yeah, all good. Not so great with my plays yesterday. I had one play, missed the over on Houston, Oklahoma City. That was the one game that actually surprised me. I thought OKC would put up a little bit more offensive effort, but Houston's defense has just been locked down this entire bubble, and I probably need to continue or to start believing in it a little bit more after yesterday. But I mean, we saw the bounce backs from Milwaukee and the Lakers. We kind of, I think, expected that. I didn't get to see you guys' show today, so I'm interested to see what you guys were on and what you thought of yesterday. But I mean, the early game with my Pacers, it was a little tough to watch at times. I thought the Pacers were able to hang around a little bit more than I expected them to, but Miami just too much and closed the door on them there in the second half. So. I'm not surprised by any of those results except for that Houston game. I thought that would be a little bit closer, but other than that, 0-1 for me on my picks yesterday. How about you guys? How'd you end up, Junior?
I went 3-1 in my picks yesterday. The Thunder really are getting on my nerves, but we'll I'll let Jay do his usual game recaps. Did hit Milwaukee first half. I wish I would have went trifecta on that, but I hit Milwaukee first half, Lakers first quarter, Lakers first half. So just excited, ready to keep getting to this money. It's been a good week. I've talked a lot of shit during the season games about how I was going to go heavy in the playoffs. So far, it's working out for me, but you guys already know you can't get too excited in this business. Just keep your head down and just try to study, as much as you can, make the best possible decisions.
Exactly. Can't get too high, can't get too low, man. The Heat yesterday took care of business versus Pacers. Pacers kind of kept up with them for a nice little minute there, but we know that he just kind of, started hitting too many threes. You got Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero out there. It's kind of unfair with the rest of those guys. Mess with their bench as well. He get it done 109 to 100. That game stays under. Pace picked up in the second half, but it did stay under there. The total was 216 and a half. The spread, the Heat closed as -4 favorite, so they get the cover there. The Thunder, man, the boys, I had them on the first quarter there, Junior. Should have took them the first half. First quarter, there was a couple of threes. From Houston got high from three late there, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the first quarter. And then OKC, they end up getting it done for the first half. Third quarter, man, them boys just come out. They were absolutely not ready, man. I think I see Houston go like on a 20-0 run. Them boys, it's tough to see. And the OKC had no answer for it whatsoever, man. When the Rockets missed a bunch of threes and they started making them, OKC didn't have an answer for it. But that game shouldn't even been like that because OKC should have took off on them when they, you know what I'm saying, were getting the misses and were hard on the bench. But the Rockets get the win there 111 to 98. That one goes under as well, way under. It's crazy because the first quarter, Mahomes was like, man, what was the over on this game? It's going flying over. Then it started slowing down, creeping down. That third quarter killed the over, man. The Bucks, they got back on the track yesterday. It was a trifecta spot, man. I should have been on the first quarter first. I was leaning that way, but I didn't end up getting on them. I know if you had the full game spread, it was kind of tricky there. The Magic, they actually had a chance to go and score a little backdoor shot or whatever, depending on what spread you had, but they just ended up dribbling out the clock. That was pretty crazy there. The Bucks ended up getting their job done 111-96. So they could, no matter what spread you had, even if you had Bucks -14, you still covered. Thanks to the Magic, though. You better send them boys a present. And then the Blazers get smacked up by the Lakers. I think we all knew that was going to happen. Well, most people, there was still a boatload of people taking the Blazers yesterday, and I couldn't argue with them. Just, you know what I'm saying, you need to see that the Lakers get it done first. But I was all over Lakers there first quarter, first half, and I was happy, you know what I'm saying, what I saw. Second half, too, they smacked the shit out of them boys. So I knew that they wouldn't finna let them come back. We saw Dame dislocate his finger, but that was towards the end of the game. Pretty good game though. It's good to see the Lakers. You know what I'm saying. Look good to see them. Look how they're supposed to in this bubble. They might have shook their rust off. Junior, did you happen to see any of the Lakers game last night?
Yeah, it's funny because I seen LeBron. LeBron was talking, and that's the way it should be, bro. LeBron should be talking. Nobody should be getting in his way in the first round. LeBron's never lost a first round series, so I could understand his frustration a little bit. Anthony Davis showed up. Again, the Lakers did what they're supposed to do in this sense. They held the Blazers to 88 points. They held them to 100 in the first game, 88 points in the second game. As long as they do that, the Blazers don't stand a chance. So, I'm sure the Blazers will make the necessary adjustments in Game 3. Dame dislocating his finger has got to be a pretty big blow to them, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really too sure if they got too much for LA. This could be, done in 5 the way it's looking.
Did you catch any of that game, the late night game, Jordan, Lakers versus Blazers?
Yeah, I didn't see Dame dislocate his finger, though. I stopped watching after the first half. But, I mean, it's no surprise to me to see the Lakers jump out like this. And if that finger, that actually is, I think a little bit more troublesome than people believe. If they can pop that back into place, but if there's a lot of swelling and pain and discomfort in that could, even if he plays in Game 3, that could really hurt his shooting, his ball handling.
Did we lose Jordan or what?
Am I
Not
muted?
here.
No, I'm sorry. My bad.
No,
I thought it was.
No, I got you. I can hear you good.
Okay, my bad. I was just saying it's going to affect his ball handling a lot too if his fingers hurting him here for this next game tomorrow. So I'd be definitely worried about the Blazers. But then again, if he's fine and the books overreact, there could be some betting opportunity. But we'll get to that tomorrow. Also, one thing I wanted to mention I forgot to yesterday. I think we saw a lot of the overs look pretty good in those game ones, and all 4 went under yesterday. So expect as these games go along, scores hopefully will tighten up, but defense is definitely going to improve as these teams kind of get into their rhythm and playoff focus here. So not surprising at all to see some of those lower scores, especially from the low-seeded teams against those high-seeded teams, both coming off losses.
Exactly. Yep, they end up both getting it done, man. After the game 1 upset, they pretty much turn around and tell them boys, show the other team we still number 1 seed now. You know what I'm saying? But let's get to today's games, man. We know that's what you guys are here for. We got the first game of the day, 1:30 Eastern, Raptors versus the Nets. Raptors line opened up at 9.5 for the Raptors, went up to 10.5 once the news of Joe Harris leaving, starting forward for the Nets, leaving the bubble there. So up 10.5. Now 11 for the Raptors here. Total opened up at 223 down to 219. Obviously, a lot of that because of the Joe Harris news as well, Junior. Any looks on this one? Your boys here versus the Nets?
Yeah, I got Raptors -3 first quarter. I don't really like the first half line too much, but I just think that the Raptors, the way that they start off these games, they're going to look to put the clamps down on the Nets, and I really think that if you're New Jersey, I'm sorry, showing my age. Yeah. Sorry, showing my age a little bit. No, if you're Brooklyn, you got to be really concerned about Joe Harris leaving the bubble, because obviously, forget about the fact that he's one of your cornerstone pieces. He's a guy you're going to have to resign to keep him with KD and Kyrie, because that's going to be a real serious weapon for KD and Kyrie, having Joe Harris, spotting up for wide open threes. But more importantly than that, right now in the bubble, he's like the most on fire 3-point shooter literally in the league. Like, he's shooting 53, 54% from 3. You can't just take that out of the lineup and think that you're going to just keep it moving. I mean, if you're one of the top seeds, you might be able to do that. But if you're the semi G League Nets, you can't be losing that type of production and think it's not going to have an effect, not only, literally, but psychologically. Like, you're down one of your biggest soldiers. Like, I just think the Raptors see that, they smell blood, and they come in and put the beating down in the first quarter like they did in game 1.
Exactly. What you think about that, Jordan? You think they come in here and put the smack down on them? We know that the Nets, they look good versus them that they said last game. They might have pissed the Raptors off, and so the Raptors got to take them serious now. This one could be over here pretty soon. Jordan, what you think about this one?
Yeah, I'm always weary of, just to follow up on Junior's pick, I'm always weary of fading the Nets here in the first quarter and first half of games just because of how good they've looked. But like Junior said, the loss of Joe Harris can now be overstated. He's easily their best set 3-point shooter. If without him now against a team that, like you said, has the ability and every intention of putting their foot right on their neck today, as soon as that buzz or as soon as the tip-off happens, I would imagine Toronto would be locked in on them. I wouldn't surprise to see them pressuring the ball up at half court, forcing turnovers. That being said, I do think Brooklyn can stay with them in the full game as they showed in game 2. But to circle back to my original point. Usually, like I said, I'm not quick to fade Brooklyn, but I kind of agree with Junior here. In this specific spot, you have to think Toronto is going to be locked in and ready to play from the moment that first quarter clock starts ticking down. And so for that, I would say maybe I like Junior's play, but I think I'd possibly be leaning towards the under here in the first quarter, actually, if I am looking at a derivative play of this one, because I'm not enough ballsy yet to take points with Brooklyn here, even 11 for the full game. And the next play in line, I think for me would probably be under first quarter. It's been the totals on the under have been getting demolished here, so a lot of the value is potentially bet off of it. But if there's some of those straggling first quarter lines hanging around in any books, I wouldn't mind taking the under here. I'm trying to look at the line right now. It looks like first quarter sitting at 56.5. I could easily see Brooklyn only 21-22 first quarter points here. Toronto really does engage them from the start to finish defensively here in the first quarter.
Exactly. It'd be interesting to see how the Raptors guard LeVert over there, man. You got to put some size and length on him. We know LeVert is the engine that makes the Nets run. Without Harris now, I see somebody in chest and he can put up 50 shots. They got to put OG over there you got to put OG on LeVert, man. You got to put some size and length on that boy. You know what I'm saying? Once LeVert looks totally different, he's not getting into the hole. They easily getting them shots. Surprised the Raptors, they're good of a defensive team. I know LeVert is a pretty damn good player up and coming, but I mean, he's just pretty much shredding them boys. Then the Raptors in the fourth quarter pretty much like, all right, we you know what I'm saying, stop all this BS. So pretty sure they'll have a game plan to come out, and I'm pretty sure they want to get this series over as soon as possible. I don't see the Nets getting the game. I like the Raptors here early too, Junior. I didn't take them in the first quarter though. I didn't take them in the first quarter. I like them more on that first half, but I still think they're gonna come out and throttle them boys. And I don't like the full game either. But this, I see some people on Twitter was taking trifectas. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't talk them out of it. I wouldn't talk them out of the Raptors first quarter, first half, and full game for the Nets. Like I say, them losing Joe Harris Jr. It just doesn't help whatsoever. I mean, they already was kind of down bad. Raptors, they are pretty already pissed because the way the Knicks came out last time. I think they really gonna make sure they come out here, you know what I'm saying, and jump on them here early. Let's get to the next game. We got or Junior, did you have anything else to say about that one?
No, actually, I was just thinking to myself, like, just from watching Caris LeVert, he's a big-time talent, but there's no way that he's going to be able to play with KD and Kyrie. He just needs the ball too much. I think the Nets are going to get some pretty good value on the trade market for LeVert. These games are like an advertisement for a LeVert trade, in my opinion. He's a baller. The dude's a baller.
Boy, go. They're gonna try and figure that shit out best they can. They is not out of everybody on the team. They ain't letting LeVert go, boy. They gotta try to have him be a little third. He's gonna have to learn.
He's probably gonna have to come off the bench, to be honest.
He's gonna have to learn his role. Yeah. But he a ball. I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with that. You come in 6 man off the bench. Yeah. That's what you remember Harden with OKC. Yeah, you remember what Harden with OKC, LeVert ain't no problem with that. You coming off the bench because guess what? You might come in 5 minutes to the game. Then when all the other subs in, you really a starter out there. That's where you have an edge. That's where you have
if Caris LeVert is a 6 man next year, just go ahead and bet that prop because he's winning.
Lock that in. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But Dinwiddie or Caris LeVert is getting traded. There's no way that those two ball dominant players could play with Kyrie and KD. No way.
Right. Yeah, Dinwiddie probably I don't care for Dinwiddie, so he can go to the Hornets or somebody, man. Put Dinwiddie on the
Yeah, don't install Devontae Graham like that now. Hang on now.
Yeah, put him at the bottom of the barrel. We putting him, send Dinwiddie to the Cavs. Now, I can't stand that dude, man, but he probably like the number 4 dude in the NBA that I just can't stand. And that's just so really over the past of this year.
I'm a LeVert guy, though, because Michigan is my college team. Shout out to your boy Trey Burke over there in Dallas. We'll get to Dallas later.
Tim Hardaway.
Tim Hardaway. I root for all the Michigan guys in the NBA.
Yeah, they're my guys, man. But let's get to the next game. We got the Nuggets versus the Jazz here, man. We see some line movement. Obviously, with Conley playing, it could mess things up, man. But so the Nuggets open up at -1.5, just down to 1. What Conley mean? Well, we know that it was probably the Nuggets was already like -3.5. So they 2-point adjustment for Conley coming back. Totals at 219 down to 218.5 here. You think we're gonna see more defense with Conley here back, Jordan? You think it's gonna kind of mess up the Jazz groove here?
I'm of the thought process that I think actually Conley is a net positive here for them. Veteran leader has been through dozens of playoff games. and is needed 3-point shooting on offense. I think it helps on that end. I think defensively he's going to blend right in. I don't. Mike Conley has never been the player, regardless of how much money he makes. Leave that out of it. He's never been a player to kind of be selfish. Like he plays his role pretty well. I don't think it's going to mess up the chemistry on either end of the court for them, and it's one of the reasons why I'm on the Jazz here, simply because I got him on even money right now. Simply because I have not seen the Denver Nuggets play one lick of defense in 10 games since we restarted playing basketball. Their defense has been bad in the 2 playoff games. It's been bad in the 8 seeding games. They're dead last among playoff teams in defensive rating at almost 128 points per 100 possessions given up so far here through 2 games. I know the Jazz can play defense. The Jazz are proving to me that outside of that home venue, they can play defense. But the one thing we've talked about for the Nuggets literally for months now is that away from home they're a different team, and they have played well, but they're still missing guys. And I'm a little more convinced now with Conley coming back and the way Utah looked in their last game that I'm starting to be a believer again in the Utah Jazz. It's not a real. I'm not going crazy on Utah today by any means, because this is going to be a very close game. It could come down to 1 or 2 possessions by every example that you throw at it. But I still think Utah is the play here because simply for the reasons that it's very, very, very simple. Is Denver's defense has just been bad, and I don't see them turning it around anytime soon now with Conley back.
Got you. What you think about this game, Junior? We saw earlier in the year, Conley kind of seemed like he didn't fit with the Jazz. They're kind of later into the season. It seemed like he kind of found his way. What do you think now? The Jazz have pretty much played them 2 good games without him. Mainly Donovan Mitchell has. How do you think Mike Conley coming back into the lineup will help or hurt the Jazz?
I'm actually kind of going against the grain with this pick. These games have been way over. I'm taking the under in this game for a few different reasons. I kind of subscribe to Jay Money's theory that even though I agree with Jordan that Mike Conley is a net positive in terms of overall, I think just in this game he might mess up the rotation a little bit, because the Jazz role players yesterday in the last game, they actually managed to get hot. Royce O'Neal went 3 for 4 from the 3-point line. Jordan Clarkson was balling. Mike Conley's going to, maybe not take away from some of their minutes, but he's going to change up the rotation and how the minutes are distributed, right? The other thing that I think is that the 3-point shooting in this series has been out of control. These teams have made 71 threes after 2 games. There's no way that they're going to keep up that pace. Now, Utah puts up 42 threes a game, so they could still make a lot of threes, but Denver's not a 3-point shooting team. Denver is like 24th in the league in 3-pointers made. I think that both teams are going to regress somewhere back to normal. Instead of like 30 to 35 threes in this game, I think we're going to see more like 24 to 28 threes. That's going to affect the total. Another thing is that Denver coming into the season, their expectation was Western Conference Final at a bare minimum, because they said that they wanted to improve from last year, where they kind of choked away the series against Portland in the Western Conference semifinal. The Denver Nuggets can't lose in the first round to the Utah Jazz. Now, I'm not saying it's not possible, because these teams are a little bit more even than the average 3 versus 6 seed. But I just think that Denver, for them today, they have to make a statement in this game. Mm-hmm. Even if they improve a little bit on defense, this total is going to go under. For my last point, these games, the first 2 games of this series, have been played at by far the slowest pace of any games, especially game 2. Game 2 is played at a ridiculously slow pace, but again, these guys are knocking down threes at this crazy rate. So I think once the 3-point shooting regresses, both teams are not really getting to the line that much. With this slow pace, I actually kind of think it plays towards the under. It's one of my official plays, under 219 today, going against the grain a little bit. Don't really bet totals too much, but I really believe that the scoring is going to slow down, and we're going to see something closer to an actual proper playoff game where teams lock down and try to defend somebody.
Exactly. And what I think the first game, didn't they go to double OT? So that one, I remember that one was on pace. Yeah. That one was on pace for the under as well before it went to double overtime. I'm pretty damn sure.
Yeah, I don't think you're against the grain at all.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I don't think it's against the grain. I mean, it's pretty.
Yeah.
A reason why Junior's saying against the grain because the first two games have went over, so it's really one of the things.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
okay,
exactly. Yeah, they went over, so he's like, all right, well, you know what? I'm taking the under. Now we know how in the playoffs it kind of could be. A lot of people take what they saw in the first two. Oh, these first two went over. This one will go over too. Junior's like, no, not exactly. You look at the percentages. You know what I'm saying? They kind of have to regress to the mean. I wouldn't argue with that, man. You know what I'm saying? I kind of like the under here as well. I think that it's a lot of moving parts here. I think that the Jazz will have to get used with Conley. We saw it during the regular season time and time again. Even though he's a good player, good point guard, when he comes back into the rotation where it's either off the bench or even more when he's starting, they actually seem like when they brought him off the bench, they actually was balling a little better. I don't know if Donovan Mitchell and Conley I don't know if they really can flourish on the court at the same time. Will be really interesting to see today, but I really kind of look at this, the Jazz, how bad they smacked them up last game. I was watching that game real closely. I wanted to see if the Nuggets were going to give up, and I can't say they didn't give up in the fourth quarter. They actually kept trying to fight or whatever. Still had the starters in there, even down by 25, almost 30 points. So they still wanted to fight. They still were working on stuff for this next game. I wouldn't talk anybody. I think the Nuggets are going to come here hot here early. I don't know if they win the game, full game, but I definitely think come out hot early. We see these teams, playoff teams, when they come out and get their teeth kicked in like that, the next game they really come out. I think we're going to see Jokic pretty much trying to drive to the hole every time. And like I said, I want to see how Conley looks out there with him and Donovan Mitchell. See if Mitchell still looks like that same player, or if he kind of go let Conley run it and then be running off the ball, which I think Mitchell is the best when he's kind of running the point guard, in my opinion. That's where I think the Jazz are the best. I tell Conley, even though you're back, we're just going to let you sit out just one more game. And you know what I'm saying? See if we can continue to ball. If we lose this one, then you come back, man. But I got a sneaky feeling about this one that everybody gonna see Conley coming back in this one, take the Jazz, and then them boys gonna take an L today because we know the Nuggets come to play. They've owned the Jazz this year, 4-1 ATS the last 5 against the spread. That's absolutely on them. Even though Jazz got that last one, the Nuggets just really seem to have their number. So we know that they're a deeper team. You get an MPJ that's playing like he's not the you know what I'm saying, it's not his first playoff game anymore. It's his third one now. The boy's starting to get comfortable. I just think the Nuggets got more weapons than him, man. And Conley coming back for Jazz really could mess him up. But like I say, that would be against the grain, taking Nuggets here. I just want to watch it, maybe get a little in play. But for some reason, I feel like Nuggets will come out in that first quarter. You know, they're not a strong fourth quarter team. They have to, because if you let Jazz come out hot again, it's gonna be bad, man. It's gonna be bad. Jordan, what you think about that? You don't think that Conley will mess him up here? So I know you say that you think he'll help, but we saw it earlier in the regular season that he just kind of him and Donovan Mitchell don't play that good together on the court together. I just want to see what you thought about that.
No, I want to hit on something you said actually when you were talking about this game, and I kind of agree with you that if Conley was the type of player that's like, give me the ball back, I'm back. Like, yeah, I'd be concerned, but I don't think he's just not that type of player. And I think you're exactly right. I'd be very surprised if Mitchell and Conley are in the game together at any point is Conley running the point. Like, it's going to be Donovan Mitchell's show right now. The ball's in his hands. He's the hottest player right now in the playoffs. There's no reason to mess up that formula. The Jazz are smarter than that. Quinn Snyder's smarter than that. Mike Conley's smarter than that. You're going to see Mike Conley spotting up for some threes though in those lineup situations, and then probably they'll shift their rotation around to where he's going to be running the bench for the point. Running the point guard for the bench unit once Mitchell's on the bench.
Gotcha. Yeah, the rotation is definitely going to be different. That's for damn sure, Junior. Let's go ahead and get no, you want to go ahead and get to this next game. I just got a sneaky feeling about that one, man. I think the Nuggets going to come to play in this one, man. Let's get to the next one. We got the Celtics versus the 76ers, man. I'm not touching the 76ers, and the day that I don't, probably the day they upset everybody, but I don't even care. I'm gonna watch this game closely. I lean the Celtics. They have absolutely owned them. I couldn't touch I'm not touching the 76ers with a 10-foot pole. They might have Scott Foster on their side, man. You always look at the refs, man. If you've been watching NBA for a while, some of these refs, you should be seeing their name over and over again, or watching the games with a lot of questionable calls in big games. Some of these refs, you know their name. What you think about this one, Junior? Boston Celtics up to -6 now, up to -6. Open up at 5, up to 6 now, pretty much across the board. What's some 5.5s out there? 5 at Heritage. If you still like the Celtics, they must got some sharp players on the 76ers there. But I see a 6 at 5 dimes here, Junior. What you think about this game? Celtics finna smack them up.
I don't have a look on this game. If I did, it would actually be the total. This is another game that I think is going to go under. I think that the Celtics offense looked amazing last game, but that's not realistic. They had a lot of guys on their bench kind of go off. You know what I'm saying? When Romeo Langford and Grant Williams and Brad Wanamaker are giving you buckets, okay, that's a plus. You'll take it to the bank, but are you going to count on that every single game? I think not. That's another one of the games that Philly's score is actually way more indicative of the pace. That game was played at a 94.1 pace. If the game is played at that type of pace again, and you have to figure that it is because game one was played at a much slower pace than that. There's no way that I think I can see this total going over. Game one ended at 210. I think it's going to be a lot closer to 210 than the total that's up right now. But I don't have an official play on the game. That's just my lean.
You know what, Jordan? This is crazy. I'm looking at the first half lines because I see somebody say -2 in the chat. They are really shading it to the 76ers. You don't see a team favored by 6 and their first half line is -2 or 2.5. You just don't see that 1.5 at Heritage. So they mean they're favored by 5 for the full game at Heritage and 1.5 on. So the books really think that the 76ers going to come out here hot in the first quarter. I don't like it, but I'm just saying as far as the books have it on their lines, the full game line is supposed to be even like say up to the Celtics -6. The first half should be -3.5, at least -3 with some juice to it, -115, right, Jordan?
Yeah.
I mean, they really expecting the Sixers come out here in the first half hot. Maybe they know that the Revs going to be held in the sun. I don't know. I just think that's kind of fishy. Jordan, what you think about that?
It is. It smells like a trap. But then again, if you're like me and saw this line earlier this morning when it was 5.5 or 5 still across the board, and there were still books hanging 1 or 1.5, and only a few had it up to 2 in the first half line. I went ahead and took a little sprinkle on that first half Celtics -1.5. It may be a trap. You're right, Jay. It could be, but I am falling for it because the Boston Celtics have shown me so far that at least for the first half, they're a very good basketball team. They had the highest net rating in first halves of the 8 bubble seeding games. They were plus 13 points between their offensive and defensive rating in the first half. And we've seen how bad Philly's defense has been. And that's the thing. Like, yeah, Philly could come out and have a really good offensive showing here. And I expect them to play desperate on offense. But their defense and they're another one of those teams. It's just like the Denver Nuggets. Away from home in this neutral atmosphere has hurt them more than almost any other team. And it's been on defense. And combine that with the questionable coaching against one of the better coaches in the NBA, who now the Boston Celtics look at this team and say, yeah, they're going to come out and give us their best effort, but we could take their best effort. And like Junior was saying, I expect this to be a pretty slow paced game that favors the Celtics. The 2 games so far averaged out to just over a little bit of faster pace than what the Nuggets and Jazz have been playing. So if you're going with that same theory, if this is going to be a half court game and Boston forces not only Philly to defend throughout long stretches of the shot clock, but also plays good defense and doesn't turn the ball over and doesn't allow them to run. I don't see the Sixers hanging with them in the first half here. You know, I do expect them to come out and punch them in the mouth, but 1.5 points here. I think it's 2s and 2.5 now. They're starting to creep up. I bought that value. It could be bad play, but it was definitely a value in just the number, pure and simple, like you were talking about, though, with a line of 5.5 and a first half spread of 1.5. It just doesn't line up. It should have been at least 2.5. I bought the value. We'll see if the sale price is good to me here. Celtics -1.5 first half.
Right. We know the 76ers always usually come out high. They come out high the past few first quarters for sure. They covered the first half in the game 1. In game 2, they didn't know. They let the Celtics go on some absurd 20-2 run or something and just kick their teeth in from there. What you think about this one, Junior? Think the 76ers going to come out with some desperation here in the first half, or you think they just absolutely have nothing for the Celtics here? Now, I can tell you, Celtics, if the 76ers don't come out high, this one's going to be done here pretty quick. And I'll definitely be on the Celtics. Like if the Celtics cover the first half, I'll be on them second half for sure. Because that means the 76ers don't have any fight. I mean, you're down 0-2. If you don't show any fight in this game, Junior, you're definitely done. But we do. I mean, this is the playoffs. Just because you go down 0-2, that doesn't mean that it's totally over. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean it's over. But I mean, it's pretty much though. What you think, Junior?
I think I'm just going to throw out a theory that. One of the reasons I think the bookies have the Sixers in the first half is that, you know, Brett Browne's coaching life and probably even Elton Brand's GM life is on the line right now. So If his team, if you know how they say sometimes a coach might have lost the locker room, kind of like how Alvin Gentry looks like he lost the locker room for the Pelicanos. If Brett Browne has lost the locker room, these guys are going to get run out from the beginning of this game. If Philly shows some fight in the first half, that's going to be a strong indication to me, anyway, of how these players feel about Brett Browne. Because obviously, locally in Philadelphia, all the talk is, they get knocked out in the first round, which is obviously going to happen. Brett Browne is gone. If they get swept in the first round, Brett Browne will be fired before he
ain't getting back to Philly, yeah.
Yeah,
you can stay in the bubble.
He's not getting on that team plane for sure. He can find his own transportation if that happens.
Let me tell you something right now. Before he leaves the bubble, he better have Airbnb. I'm not Airbnb. He better have Uber on deck.
Yep.
Because he is going to be fired as soon as these games are done. So I just think that there's a possibility, unless you guys can think of something else, that the bookies feel like 76ers are going to come out like their lives are on the line. More specifically, their head coach and their GM's lives are on the line and give an effort. I don't think that's what's going to happen.
I don't believe that at all.
I just think that that's what maybe they're looking at.
Man, what's called Brett Browne? If he get fired right after, you got to get him some security, man. The players might go after his. Players might start going after that boy. Hey, come here, bro. I just want to talk to you real quick, man. I just got a few words for you real quick. You know what I'm saying? Boy, beat that boy up real quick. Nah, but Elton Brand, you're damn good. You're damn good GM. You're damn good GM, but why you even allow Brett Browne to come back, bro? Come on, man. You got to get somebody else in there. So I don't think that Elton Brown's job is on line because, you know what I'm saying, the players he brought over there, the job he did mainly last year, but I mean, you can't keep that coach. I really do think the Sixers would be a different type of team if they had a different coach. And I've been saying that for the past 3 or 4 years now. That's just me. But obviously, I mean, just theoretically, 76ers have to give them everything that they have in this first half and first quarter. We see them catch the first quarters in the first 2 games. So it's just a matter of if their spirit is crushed here. Like I say, I'm not looking towards the 76ers. We're just talking, you know what I'm saying, playoff basketball, what we've seen in the NBA. Like I say, even though they're down 0-2, it's still technically a series. It isn't over if the 76ers win these next 2 games, they could still be in it. There's no real home court advantage. So I've seen the Bucks win the first 2 games and then lose the next 4. I've seen it. So this isn't the Bucks that they're, you know what I'm saying, messing with here. So I'm just letting you guys know anything can happen. This is the NBA, and what the NBA wants to happen is really what it's all about, really. So you kind of have to look deeper and see what the NBA kind of wants. So there's no look for me on this one. The Celtics seem like they've owned the Sixers in this first 2 games. Like they really missing Ben Simmons out there as well, man. So no play on me from this one. Jordan, did you have any closing words? I know you were about to say something.
I was just saying, I think the one thing, there's nothing that's saving Brett Browne's job, but the one thing that could save Elton Brand's job is the fact that Ben Simmons was hurt here. But like he's not without blame, I think, from some of this. That Horford deal, I think, looks more questionable by every playoff game we get here because it's a lot of salary cap and he doesn't fit well with your best player or your best 2 players on the court at the same time. There's some things going on in Philly they really got to figure out. I like Elton Brand. I do like some of the picks he's made so far, and I think his job is safe, even if they get swept. But they gotta really get some, they gotta get Simmons healthy, obviously, and they gotta figure out their rotation and their coaching situation before they're actually really a true contender and not a pretender.
Hey man, I'm gonna just say this: I love Elton Brand. I mentioned to you guys earlier in the year I played against him in high school. But a year before 2 years before he was the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. Tobias Harris is the highest paid player on the Sixers. He's making $31 million a year. So, Elton better start making some better contract decisions. That's all.
Yeah, the free agency thing's got to improve. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know why they went and got Horford, to be honest with you. I mean, you went and got Horford for him to not look good on the court with Embiid. Well, everybody should have known it already. You got 2 fucking centers out there, bro. Horford ain't no damn – he's not a power forward, but he can play power, but not with that type of center, not with the 76ers. And you're going to try to bring him out the bench. When they signed Horford, I think it was one of the dumbest things, in my opinion. So if Brand was in charge of that, maybe they should – I don't think that was a good trade. There's a lot – the guards that you need, bro. I mean, all the guards you need, you're going to go get Horford, another big man. I don't know.
And let JJ Redick and Jimmy Butler go at the same time.
I don't even know about to say. I don't know what to say about that one. I mean, he fan must be on that Philly gas on that one. Let's get to the next one, man. We got the Clippers versus the Mavs. Last game of the night, man. Total opened up at 233 down to 231.5. Clippers opened up at -4.5, up to 5 at some shots. Shops back down. I saw 5.5 this morning when I woke up super early, get my son ready for school. But it looked like it's back down to 5, 4.5. Some sharp money coming on the Mavs, man. It's like this is a nice little two-way handle game. I'm seeing just around 51%, 49% here, Junior. Any thoughts on this game? What you think about my boys, the Mavs? They've been matching up well versus the Clippers. They had a damn good game last time, Junior.
I just got one question for y'all. Are we going to see Paul George, or are we going to see George Paul today?
We're going to see playoff P, or are we going to see George Paul?
Because if we see George Paul, I'm liking Dallas plus the points, to be honest with you. We've been saying the entire bubble that there's something not right about the Clippers, and it's their defense. This is a team who's listen, Pat Bev, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard are three of the best defenders in the entire NBA. So you can't really be letting guys. Now, I'm not going to say that I blame them for Luka going off, because Luka just goes off against everybody. But I do blame them to some extent for some of the Mavs bench guys getting off on them. The Clippers are going to have to clamp down on some of these other guys and make Kristaps and Luka beat him. So I don't know, man. I can't really. If I had to make a look, because I have no play on this game, it would be Mavs plus the points or nothing.
What you think on this one, Jordan? What you think about what Junior just said?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Paul George angle just for a second here. Paul George is probably one of the biggest enigmas in the entire NBA, and I watched so much Paul George basketball since I've lived here in Indy. I've lived here now a little over 5 years, so I got to watch at least a little bit of Paul George. And before I got here, obviously, I mean, with the playoff runs that they made with those teams. But I mean, this dude, it's all right here with him. Like the talent level. Is there with him, but if he's not right in his head, it's over. And I think you can kind of see that in just games where he just doesn't play well. And I think that like sometimes you just got to get him locked in mentally. And I think Doc Rivers has been able to do that. And we've seen that with him over the last couple of years and really dominate in situations like this. But all of a sudden he comes up blank in some of these spots. But I think he will bounce back from game 2. I expect him and the Clippers to engage a lot more defensively here. I think it's kind of like what we've seen from some of these teams that have played poorly on defense, and I talked about this the last game. They just haven't had a lot of their guys. Like, I mean, they just really need to get locked back in and actually have some games and practices, more than just 1 or 2 now, where they have their entire roster available. Because when we've seen this team has the ability to play lockdown defense when they have their entire rotation, they go 10 to 11 guys deep potentially. So I think from that perspective, I agree that I seriously doubt they're going to lock down Luka. They got to lock down everybody else. It starts with Porzingis as well. So if that's the case, I do like the Clippers tonight, but I had no way fading this team or the Mavs tonight. It's one of those games that I cannot wait to watch, but I'm not fading either of these teams tonight. There's no way. If I had to make a play, I'd probably do it on the under and just chase that. But also, we have to expect that what if the defense does not improve? What if the Clippers do not still look good on defense? Then the under is probably not going to be a very good play. But from the Paul George angle, I do expect him to have a bounce back effort. So I might be looking at some props for him tonight potentially. That could be another avenue to look at this one because all the talk's been on him. He's been getting clowned a lot. He's got a lot of emotions, but he also I think reads what everybody else says for good, for better, or for worse. And I think he comes out and has a good game tonight.
Got you. Yeah, I know my Mavs team, man. I know them. They played a damn good game last time. I was on them. They played a little bit better than I thought, but they were just so motivated in it for their game. Obviously from game 1, from being cheated by the refs. The refs knew that they cheated them. The Mavs got a lot of 50-50 calls as well. There was a lot of reasons why I took the Mavs in the last game. I loved the spot for them. Like I say, they had the motivation. When the Mavs are motivated like that, and the refs on their side just knew we was gonna get it done. It's a different day though today. The Mavs, my Mavs see they don't really play that well off of wins like that. They kind of start feeling themselves, you know what I'm saying? The motivation that was there in the last game, I don't think that same motivation will be here this game. You probably won't get the 50-50 calls, the refs on your side. You probably have a little bit closer to a close call game. The Mavericks have 1-5 ATS the last 6 after an ATS win. That goes all the way back to the regular season. They just don't play well on back-to-back games or whatever, back-to-back nights versus the same opponent that's pretty much owned you this year. They know that they were terrible on defense, gave up 127 7. You're gonna see what the Clippers did to the Mavs here in their first couple of games in the regular season, where now on their pick and roll, they're just gonna double team the shit out of Luka. They're gonna stifle him on defense. No matter, they're not gonna even let him pass it out the double team. You'll see a different defensive beast from the Clippers today. I'm going against my team. I'm on the Clippers today, minus the 5. I like this spot for them. This is what they brought everybody together for. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, the whole bench. Probably won't have Beverly tonight, but you're gonna see the Clippers like a shark in the water tonight on defense. And I think they're gonna come out and smack my team in the mouth, and they will not be able to look back from there, man. I think the Clippers gonna get this one done the first half, and they're never gonna look back. I wouldn't argue out the Clippers first quarter as well, but that's the only one I had to. I'm on Clippers first half and the full game. They finna smack my team up tonight. You know what I'm saying? Hurt their confidence probably, and take back control of this series. They saw what the Lakers did last night and get back over there. So Clippers like they can't go down. If they're winning this game, they're covering the spread. In my opinion, they're gonna win this game by double digits, and they have to take a 2-1 lead. You can't go down 1-2 here with championship aspirations. There's just no way in hell. You got to clamp down Paul George, even if he has a little off night. I think Kawhi is gonna absolutely go off tonight. We don't really have anyone that's gonna stop him if he gets into that mentality. Doc Rivers gonna have his team ready tonight, especially on defensive end. They're double teaming probably everything, and I think we'll see a bunch of turnovers for our Mavs, and it's gonna be easy points for the Clippers, man. That's why I'm looking at this game. So I know a lot of people like the Mavs tonight, some sharp guys as well. Money come back on, but I'm not going back too much on what I saw last game because I know that the Mavs had motivation in that game for Porzingis, whatever. And you saw it too right from the get-go, but I don't think that same. I think they kind of feeling themselves a little too much here. The Clippers gonna be pissed off, and that's gonna be a different beast. Any closing remarks, Junior? You want to recap what your plays, brother? Anything you got to say about this game?
In terms of this game, to be honest with you, I know I just was kind of clowning Paul George, but I just want to make one thing clear. I only give Paul George a hard time because, first of all, he was running his mouth to Dame. So you open your mouth, you better produce. Number 2, he's way too talented to have so many of these bad playoff games. Like, bro,
yeah.
If you go back and look at Paul George's playoff history, he's got so many terrible games that it really just gets on my nerves to watch a guy that we know is talented not play up to his capabilities. Now, in terms of this series, the reason why I don't really give him a pass, who the hell could guard this guy on the Dallas Mavericks roster, son? Now, the last game, I will give him this. I feel like the foul trouble kind of messed up his rhythm. Like he was like in and out of the game. He couldn't really get a rhythm.
Yeah, he got 3 Junior.
Quick, yeah. And that's gonna mess up your rhythm. So I'll give him a pass. He has another bad game tonight, though. I still think that the Clippers probably win, even if he has a bad game. But he needs if they're gonna be a championship team, he needs to be the Paul George we saw in OKC, who some people might forget, Paul George was 3rd in MVP voting last season. So it's not some guy who's just like, oh, he's pretty good, but sometimes he doesn't play well. Nah, he has MVP-like potential when he's right. The Clippers need that version of Paul George to stand up, not just today, but for the rest of these playoffs so that they could get to where they're trying to go.
Got you. Any recapping with your plays, my guy? Junior?
Yeah, I got sorry about that. I got Raptors first quarter, and I got Denver, Utah going under 219.
Got you. What you liking, my guy? Jordan, anything recap what I said on the Clippers and Mavs game and recapping what your plays, brother?
I definitely like that you're a Mavs fan and you're so you're confident on the Clippers tonight, because I think that the Clippers. I've been bullish on the Clippers all year, so I would hate to jump off the train now after one loss in the first round of the playoffs, which I'm not. But I think you are objectively right in a lot of cases, which I think is impressive here. That's definitely, I think, a good play. I see some 5s now. These 4.5s are disappearing as we speak right now. So I guess somebody's listening to you.
Might listen to the show.
Somebody's listening to J Money right now. Anyway,
against his team, man. I gotta ride with him. You right, man. 4.5's gone. They still at bookmakers, but hey, it might have took it down. I mean, I like the Clippers tonight, man. Off a loss, Jordan? My bad. Finish what you.
No, you're good. You're good. I just want to recap my plays. I got a little sprinkle, tiny little sprinkle on the Jazz money line here at 4:00. I think they get it done here. Not extremely confident in that, but I do think they're the better team than Denver objectively with Denver's guys missing. And I took the fire sale. We'll see if it works. Boston -1.5 for first half. We'll see if Philly comes out and plays for their life or they lay down. I think it's the latter, but we'll see.
Got you. I'm on the Clippers today, man. That's where I got the blue and red on today. Like I said, I'm going against my team. I love my team, but like I say, if they was getting 7 here, I might, look towards them. But they're 4.5, 5 is too short. I think the Clippers come to play here. Excuse me. I think they covered the first half, and they're not looking back, man. Clippers, if they come to play today, it's gonna get ugly for my Mavs. They're not the same motivated, saying they're not gonna have the refs on their side. Like you say, PG getting 3 quick fouls. The refs were they were on the Mavs the last game. Literally, I was too, so I ain't gonna say nothing, but we got them there every call, and I'm sure they frustrate the Clippers. I think maybe it'll be more of a closer game, or Clippers might even get more calls today. But regardless, Doc Rivers gonna have his team ready to play today. My Mavs, we don't really have a whole lot of playoff experience. Carlisle does, but Luka and Porzingis, they do not. Clippers, if they bring the championship defense, I think they're gonna get it done today, man. We're trying to get some cash. I know what we're trying to do, and I like the Raptors in the first half as well. But I like them in the first quarter as well. With my guy Junior, man, let's get some cash today. Definitely got to watch this Denver Nuggets and Jazz game. Super close, man. We got to go ahead and get out of here. Not sure if we're gonna be tomorrow or not. I got to try to find somebody to go on with. If not, we'll holler at y'all on Monday, man. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Jimmy with J Money.